What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Bremen, aka Allfire's. Happy Guardians of the Galaxy release weekend. If you haven't already seen the film, minor spoiler warning, we're going to be talking about elements of the movie and of course breaking down both post-credit scenes during this video. So again, if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet, back out now, come back and see us afterwards. We'll still be here. In the meantime, spoiler warning, we're covering everything you missed and the implications for the MCU going forward from the two post-credit scenes for Guardians of the Galaxy. But first, if you could hit the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews to the occasional industry insider report and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway, and in fact, we'll be announcing a brand new PS5 winner in the very next video. So this is your last video to get in for this giveaway. Again, all you got to do, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so I know that there were a lot of fans, maybe myself included, who thought there might have been one or two major deaths for Guardians members coming in this trilogy, and I am so thankful that James Gunn decided not to go that route. Yeah, the marketing may have played on that a little bit, but as luck turns out, there are no major deaths for Guardians of the Galaxy members. Instead, I sort of want to compare this to the end of Thor: Love and Thunder, not in any way to compare these movies because that would be blasphemous, but how they ended some of the characters, basically parking them in limbo in the MCU until they're needed or called on again, if ever, basically putting them somewhere that makes sense for the story until Secret Wars rolls around. Well, what have they been doing since then? Well, now we know. Gamora goes back with the Ravagers because that's who she is now, and a great completion for her arc. She's not the Gamora we knew from earlier in the Infinity Saga, and basically Peter Quill has to come to terms with that. We also see Mantis take off with some of the monsters that they fought during Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 that reappear in this film, and that makes sense for her character. I love the ending for Drax and Nebula taking care of the kids on Nowhere. Drax, having lost his own child, now becoming a parent again, is almost a full circle or catharsis ending for the character and makes perfect sense. And then obviously in the wake of this, we get the brand new Guardians of the Galaxy team that's formed with Rocket, Groot, Phyla-Vell, Adam Warlock, Kraglin, and Cosmo the Space Dog. Now, originally, I was going to do a video on whatever team was to follow up, but we didn't know which members it would exactly have, and had I done that video, well, I might have jumped the shark just a little bit. In the comic comparison for what happens here, when Star-Lord walks away from the team, as he did at the end of this film, Cosmo is actually inspired to put together another team, which is led to the Annihilators. But that Annihilators team is a completely different lineup. Somewhere they may go in the future, but that Annihilators team, and for people who know it in the history of Marvel Comics, is one of, if not the most OP team that has ever existed. Alongside Adam Warlock, you have the likes of Beta Ray Bill, Silver Surfer, Gladiator. The team is out of control. So while there is a slight Venn diagram of members, and that might be the eventual makeup for this team, an Annihilators title in the MCU, which was a rumor from some years back, I think they're taking time in between now and then to leave a Guardians team intact. And as I said moments ago right after the prologue, basically this is just a major placeholder until they get to Secret Wars. This is what all these characters will be doing from now until then, so we basically know where their story has been. And as some of the actors have said, it's going to be a little weird playing these characters with no James Gunn, but they've done that before. They were able to do it during the Infinity Saga at the end with Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Those characters definitely made sense outside the vacuum of their own Guardians team, written by someone different and directed by a different director. I think it will be fine, and on the way to eventually getting Annihilators in the MCU, you'll have this second Guardians team, which again, there's plenty of time in the MCU left, future sagas, fingers crossed. Definitely no need to fast forward to the Annihilators and before some of their more powerful members are introduced. This may be on the way to that, but for right now, this is the second iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy team, and make no doubt about it, we'll be seeing them again. Speaking of which, let's talk about the other post-credit scene and how the movie leaves off basically telling us that the legendary Star-Lord will return. The legendary Star-Lord is actually the name of one of Peter Quill's solo comic books. So when I saw this, I have to be honest, my gut reaction was, wow, they're going to give Peter Quill, Star-Lord, his own solo movie. That's how I read it. Now, I may be wrong, but to invoke the legendary Star-Lord title is to invoke his solo comic book series. Now, obviously, down the road and with Secret Wars, they're going to need as many superheroes as they can get. And I think ultimately the goal with Secret Wars, as I've said at the channel many times, is not only to bring back as many of the MCU superheroes as possible, even ones who have passed, again, can come in from alternate timelines. Here's looking at you, Tony Stark, but also bring back past Marvel cinematic universes, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, anything over at Fox, the Spider-Verse over at Sony. So if there are characters left wherever they are, they're going to want to bring them back, and that's actually what this title means. Whether or not they're going to do a solo Peter Quill Star-Lord movie, I'm not too quite sure about that, especially since James Gunn is leaving. I think there's a really good chance Chris Pratt is definitely going to take a role over at DC of some kind, and now that he's a leading man, it'll be a role of commitment. I think he will be back, and I think it'll be for sort of huge crossover movies like what's coming up with Secret Wars, and I think that's why they put that title in there. I think it very unlikely we see a solo Star-Lord movie. That's what I've been getting DMs about. Are we going to see a solo Star-Lord movie? If we are, that would have to be somewhere way down the line. Remember, guys, Marvel Studios is making a conscious decision to prioritize quality over quantity, roll back the number of things that they're releasing. Even if they push Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars out a couple of years, there's only limited spots for a number of films to get told, a number of TV shows to get shown. Definitely thinking without James Gunn, it's a long shot here on a solo Star-Lord title. But the second post-credits scene basically shows him back on Earth at the breakfast table with his granddad, and the gag is that he's reading the paper and it reveals that Kevin Bacon from the holiday special was abducted, and the headline reads, "He shares all," obviously just calling back to that. And remember, it's been pretty well established at this point, even though Quill was back on Earth during the events of Endgame, he's not gone back to his house yet. This is his first time returning to see his family since the scene that we see play out at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Parking the character on Earth, so when we get to Secret Wars and Battleworld, he'll be right in the thick of it, where he needs to be for Secret Wars, again, making sure they make good on that title. But as James Gunn had said, and I think this is the perfect full circle ending, the first movie was about the mother, the second movie was about the father, and the third movie was about self. For Peter, Quill is the full circle conclusion that his character deserves, much in the way we see Drax becoming a parent again, or we hear the song from the first film, "Come and Get Your Love," here at the end when the new team is forming. We're seeing the full circle storyline play out for a lot of these characters, where they've gone through their full arc and they're now back where they started, but completely different, and now left in a place where they can be utilized again coming up for Secret Wars. Guys, I thought Guardians of the Galaxy 3 truly was one of the best Marvel movies since Avengers Endgame, and there is something I want to say about it outside of just the post-credit scene breakdowns, as just a fan who's speaking to other Marvel fans. Guys, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is what a good movie, written by a competent writer in James Gunn, directed by a competent director in James Gunn, and unencumbered by movie by committee. Some of these other films that we've seen during Phase 4 have so very obviously suffered by too many cooks, and what I mean by that is just too many rewrites, too many people who didn't work on the original script, who aren't writers and can't see every line as a part of the final vision, coming together to make these movies, again, by committee, and that's how you end up with something like Multiverse of Madness with a million rewrites, apparently, according to some of the actors, 33 rewrites, or a movie like Avengers Kang Dynasty, which had no sense of itself. And so I hope that Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige take a strong look at Guardians of the Galaxy. I hope the numbers and the tickets, the box office sales replicate how good this movie was, and they remember to hire competent directors and writers and stay the F out of their way. Because quite honestly, when you see a movie like this that is written and directed competently, it makes the rest of the MCU that has been written and directed by committee of executives fail in comparison, especially for Phase 4. Projects just didn't hit like this, and they need to. This is what we've come to expect by Marvel. And there you go. There you have it. You guys say I'm a shill who never sort of knocks Marvel when they deserve it. They deserve it right now, especially when you put something like this out. It highlights maybe some of the other projects that are less than, which really are not the writers or the actors' faults. I've really been on the writers, but it's not. It's on Marvel Studios for pulling a Warner Brothers. If you're going to hire Zack Snyder to do your Justice League, you let Zack Snyder do his Zack Snyder Justice League. If you're going to hire these other directors and writers to do these films, let them. Don't do movie by committee and end up giving us something that's so homogenized and so watered down that it's not good at all, which is what we've been getting. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below quickly. Let's get into the giveaway stuff. Okay, our next video will announce a PS5 winner, and we're going to keep giving them away at the channel, but if you want to get entered to win this one that's right around the corner, literally the next video will have a winner. This video will count. All you got to do, be a subscriber, leave a comment on the video, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, live with my voice in the comments shown on screen, so make sure to stay safe. If you get a comment from someone claiming you won, just report the comment. It's not how we do things. Nobody does that on YouTube. No one's going to ever ask you to contact them on WhatsApp or Telegram or pay for shipping. Those are all scammers. Be safe. Report those comments. YouTube will delete their accounts. My name is Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find my brand new record, which debuted in the top 25 alt records in the country on all platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires with the Make an Entrance EP. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.